any performances by band or cheerleaders on the field. So some of the things that really make football games and college football special, the pageantry that we're all used to, probably not going to exist in a college football venue this year. Financially, football is incredibly important to us at the University of Arkansas, and I think my fellow SEC members would say the same thing. For us, it generates about $70 million of our approximately $124 million budget. Not to mention the economic impact that Razorback football has across Northwest Arkansas and across our state. So obviously, if we're not able to play football, challenging financial decisions as a director of athletics that I'm going to have to make. What I will tell you that the safety, the health, and well-being of our student athletes will always be first and foremost, and we will never compromise that. But if we can find a way to safely play football, soccer, volleyball, and cross country this fall, that is our number one goal. So I will stop right there, and we'll open it up. Bob, you got a question already?
Let her rip, Bob.
Okay, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we'll do the same thing. Everybody,
okay.
We'll do 2 questions and then rotate so we can try to get through everybody, okay?
Governor Hutchinson announced today that he was going to have, a statewide mask mandate. I was wondering your reaction to that. And then the second part of that is the Georgia governor, I can't name, but he's basically repealing all the local mandates in his state about masks. Just wondering what your feelings are about those decisions.
Well, I fully support the governor. I fully support my good friend Doug McMillan and the staff at Walmart for the decision that they made. I fully support the Board of Trustees for our system and the decision that they made. It's a shame, in my opinion, that wearing a mask has to become a political decision. To me, it's just the right thing to do. What we've heard from medical personnel, and me and my family, we are active mask wearers, as are all of our staff members that have come to work. And I think it's the right thing to do, not only for yourself, but for everyone you come in contact with.
And then the second question, you sound optimistic about being able to compete in the various sports this fall. What's your level of optimism?
I'd say it's mediocre, Bob, to be honest and very transparent. Mediocre. It's not as high as it was a month ago. I mean, obviously what has trended across our country with this virus over the past 4 to 6 weeks is not at all what we had expected, at least not what I had expected. I thought as we sat in May and we were going to bring our student athletes back on June the 8th that I would have said back then we had a much better opportunity for this to happen. But, things can change quickly. They change quickly in the wrong direction for us. And I think if everybody will do their part, as far as wearing the mask and social distancing, that we still have a great chance to have fall sports this year, because this is a virus that there's been peaks and valleys of this thing since it started. And we've learned a great deal. I think as we look back at March, when this all started, we made a quick and hasty decision, in my opinion, as a nation to cancel at least spring sports. I think as we look back.
Well, Hello, it's On the Hill with Pat Jenkins Sports Talk. It's our Tuesday edition here on OTH, brought to you on KDSJ 479. And we'll continue to let you hear our Zoom conference we had last week with AD Hunter Yurachek on all fall sports, particularly the start of football season. I know a lot of people are really waiting with bated breath to see what that final decision will be. Will we have football starting September 5th? Will it be pushed back to October? All that's it's in the air. Nobody knows. Listen to me. We don't even know. So I can't share anything, but I have a strong feeling, Demetrius, when all is said and done, we will see football in Fayetteville, Arkansas on September 5. I mean, that's just my own personal, but that's what I hope our best case scenario. And once again, I want everyone to know I'm very aware of the COVID pandemic. I take that very serious, but I do think when all is said and done, we'll see football September 5.
Yeah, I have to agree with half of that statement. I do think we see football, but I'm not sure if it's going to happen on September 5th. I still believe if the NFL does not conduct
you've been tough on that. You've stayed with that.
I have to.
You hadn't backed off, and I have to respect you for that.
I still believe that if the NFL does not activate their plan or show some type of progression as well as football. I know baseball is getting ready to start or hopefully kick off. Am I right?
Yes. Texas high school football, their UIL came out yesterday, and they pushed the start of football practice in the state of Texas for all high school athletes to September the 7th. Games to be starting September 24th. But that's just for the 5A and 6A. They also say that 3A and 4A, the lower classifications, are expected to start their practice time, which will be 2 weeks from today, probably middle of August. But just want to make a note, a lot of prospective young men that Arkansas is going to be recruiting, Demetrius, are in that 5A and 6A classification in the state of Texas. So we'll keep a close eye on those guys.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I think when you look at sports, you definitely have to start at the top of the pyramid when you're looking at where the most, I guess you would say, the largest crowds are. Example, the SEC. They're really the kind of the front runner, and everybody's looking at them to figure out, okay, if they go, I know it's okay for us to go. But to me, I think that the basis is going to come on individual states because we know, I know you mentioned earlier that, you said Florida was going to have high school football. But then when you look at the COVID numbers, Florida has probably one of the highest numbers of COVID. And then how do you balance that amongst teams going in and out of the state of Florida when you have away home or away games? So to me, I'm still trying to figure out how they're going to balance it, because if one team decides, hey, they're not ready, or one team has less practices, another SEC school is going to complain, because we know this is a game of numbers in the SEC, and every day matters. One practice can be the difference in a ball game. I firmly believe that here in the SEC.
Well, we're going to start getting going, because we always say the Hall guys don't stop. Our coaches at the University of Arkansas, they don't stop, and neither do we here at OTH. And we're going to continue on this. We're going to continue with the 2023 class for Coach Sam Pittman and that Arkansas football program. We're going to be at DeSoto High School here shortly to talk to Dalen Jones out of DeSoto High School. The 2023 wide receiver has an Arkansas offer. The kid didn't get a chance to play freshman football, so just to have an offer going into his sophomore year says a lot about the young man's talent. We'll find out all that he has to say about the Razorbacks and much, much more in a very early stage of his high school recruiting. And then we're going to go to the same high school. We're going back to the Peach State, Demetrius. We've been there, and they got two really, really large peaches in the state of Texas at Ellenwood, Georgia, Cedar Grove High School. We're going to talk to the nation's, I call him the best defensive tackle in the country. Christian Miller will be joining us in the 1:30 hour, and then following Christian up, his teammate, Rashad Dubinion, the athlete. And I'm talking about, when you see his film, you understand why he's such a great athlete. These guys are dominant, and they know a little bit about Jimmy Smith, so we'll find out all that the running back coach has presented to those young men in their livelihood, and why he's such a good addition as a Razorback coach, and what's that going to mean going forward. We'll find all that out, but let's get this on, and let's get on the road. It's On the Hill with Pat Jenkins, and it's your Tuesday edition on KDSJ 479. Let's get it.
Nate?
There we go. Hunter, just as far as the sports you were talking about giving up, or not, or just about the changes you are foreseeing in the future, if football isn't played, just anything in particular you're looking at this point?
Well, Nate, we have certain fixed expenses. One of those is a scholarship we provide for our student athletes. It's approximately $11 million. We will continue to provide those. We have some debt service on the incredible facilities that we have built. It's approximately $16 million. We may be able to refinance some of that debt to lower those payments and make some interest-only payments. Fixed expense we have is salaries. About $41 million of our budget is made up of coaches, administrators, and support staff salaries. I think there'll be a time when we're going to have to, if we don't have football, that we'll have to start looking at cutting into that pie.
That's all I got for now.
Thanks, Nate. Trey Beatty.
Hey, Hunter. This may be a little. What would it take for all of this to stop, for the progress moving forward, for everything to get canceled, I guess?
Trey, I think we live in the hypothetical right now, so you ask a hypothetical question. I feel like I've been trying to answer hypothetical questions, and I don't have a great answer for that, Trey. I mean, obviously, we have some states within our conference that are struggling, as Texas and Florida, and so we need some things to get better in those states in particular to help with that. But we need this to start trending in the other direction. I think if you see this, that it does not trend in the other direction, and we see a continued increase in cases across our country and across this region, and the death rate increases, I think that'll give us a pretty good indication that we're going to have to put a stop on to this.
I know the last update that we got was there had been no discussion about possibly pushing the season off into the spring. Has that been mentioned at all as a contingency plan since then?
I would tell you that absolutely it is on the list, but I will tell you it's the last option on the list, because I think you really, as we talked, like September 5th has to be the first option, and then pushing it back a week or two, and then another week or two, and then maybe another week or two before you get to the spring option. I think we've got several options within the fall, but we just need a different trend in this virus right now.
Thanks, Hunter.
Kara?
Hey, Tara.
Well, first off, the news today coming out from A&M about them possibly wanting to move the game that's typically at Jerry World to College Station. Ross Bjork said that he talked to you about it a little bit. I was wondering what that discussion was like.
Sure. Well, that's their home game this year. They've already lost a home game versus Colorado, so I think Ross has a desire.
Welcome back to our Tuesday edition of On the Hill with Pat Jenkins Sports Talk Radio, coming to you here on KDSJ 479. And Arkansas coach Sam Pittman and that entire staff, it's not about what you do in year one, it's about what you do in years to come. And so the brand has to continue to get out. They've recruited the 21, the 22s. They are also recruiting the 23, so we thought we'd make our way all the way to DeSoto, Texas, where it's got to be a big state for the Razorbacks, and this player could make a difference. New offer in the 2023 class, Dalen Jones. DJ, welcome to OTH. Let's get off into it, Dalen. I mean, you are in a very surprising situation. You didn't get a chance, as we spoke, to play your freshman year there at DeSoto. It's rare. Freshmen do that at that high school. You come in, Arkansas offers you a scholarship heading into your sophomore year. Talk about that process, and how have you been able to handle being a sophomore and having all this attention so early without having to play your first varsity football game?
I handled it very good. Of course, there was negativity around, a lot of positivity though, so that kind of helps me.
Talk about that offer to Arkansas. What was it like to be to head into your sophomore season and get a Power 5 offer from an SEC school?
It felt real good, and it even felt better when coach himself offered me. It kind of felt like they really wanted me.
Now, when you look at your sophomore year, I mean, a lot of expectations. I mean, you're going to have a bullseye on your chest, being one of the few sophomores in the state of Texas to have an SEC offer, in particular from the University of Arkansas. What are your expectations going into your sophomore year of high school football?
My expectations are big. I plan on having a great season at DeSoto. I just play to keep what I had going on at freshman to bump it up a notch.
Or some of the other schools, Dalen, that's shown what we call social media love on Twitter as far as recruiting you and extending a lot of interest in the early going?
Kansas, California, the University of Cal, the University of Baylor, and it was Illinois at a point in time, Texas Tech. It's been a lot.
Now, when you start your sophomore year there at DeSoto, you are also with a commit at the University of Arkansas that'll be playing his freshman year next year, and Jaden Wilson. What has Jaden told you about the University of Arkansas and why he chose to be a Razorback, if you care to share it?
He told me that not just the receiver coach and the offensive coordinator, but every coach up there showed him love like it was home from the beginning, as soon as he took his visit up there. And that's what separated them from a lot of other schools.
Well, talk to me about the culture there at DeSoto. What is it about the Eagle culture that you'll be able to, when that day comes and you pick your school of choice, Dalen, that you'll be able to hang your hat on at whatever school you choose to go to?
The DeSoto environment is nothing but winning. That's all they expect. is to win, work hard, and they want to see the best of you in the classroom and on the field.
Dalen, who are some of the college or NFL receivers that you like to pay attention to?
The NFL level will be DeAndre Hopkins and Mike Evans.
Oh.
And college level, probably CeeDee Lamb.
Any
Well,
particular?
he's part of the league now, but yeah.
When that time comes, DJ, will distance be a factor from home, or you basically, you and the Jones family, you guys will sit down and make the best decision that suits Dalen Jones?
Yeah, we'll make the best decision. I don't think distance will really play a part of that. I think whoever shows me the most love, who I can get a good future at, and what college can get me ready for the big time league.
Best high school football, DJ. Where is it played at? I just, I talk to kids around the country. Some say Georgia, some say Louisiana, some say Ohio, Virginia. In your opinion, state your case for why Texas high school football you feel is the best.
Because every game you're going to get the best competition. You're going to see other 4 stars, 5 stars on the other opposite team. So you're going to be playing against caliber players that's just like yourself.
Now, when I come to the stadium there at DeSoto and I've got popcorn and a Sprite, 20 ounce, balls kicked off, I'm at the highest bleacher in the stadium. What type of football player am I going to say I just got a chance to see in Dalen Jones when those 4 quarters are over?
A dog. Nothing but a dog.
We're talking with Dalen Jones of DeSoto High School, the 2023 wide receiver. Has been offered by Coach Justin Stepp, Sam Pittman, Kendall Browse, that entire staff at the University of Arkansas. You and me, my man, riding around DeSoto. You with the
Yes,
OG.
sir.
DJ, give me the first 5 songs on the playlist, my man.
NBA Youngboy 3 songs, and then Lil Baby for the last 2.
So it's only NBA and Lil Baby. Them the only 2 we dealing with, huh?
Yes, sir.
I like that. Now, I'm gonna ask this question of you because I always had my pregame meal on Thursday night, something that I had to eat. Just had to be what it had to be, and it made me feel good on Friday nights. What's the pregame meal on Thursday night for Dalen Jones that he has to have before he plays on Friday?
Golden Chick.
See, you told me I eat golden chick to be, so we go down there. I got to tell my producer, what we supposed to get? The spicy wings? Is that what it was? Or spicy
chicken tenders.
All right. So we're going to make a playoff game because the way it's scheduled, we may be able to do that. But last question, Dalen, and if you would, finish the statement for me. When football is done with, for Dalen Jones of DeSoto High School out of DeSoto, Texas, he's played his Power 5 collegiate football, realized the dream of playing in the NFL. But that day's going to come. We all know it. The football's going to go flat. The shoes, shoulder pads, pants got to be put up in the locker room, Dalen.
Yes,
After
sir.
football, what's life like for Dalen Jones of DeSoto, Texas, DeSoto High School?
Of course, I plan on giving back to my family and my community. And I also plan on starting a Little League team, not just a ordinary Little League team, one that's going to be based around the country with top players to get
like
them
that.
to where I'm going to be.
Well, Dalen, man, I'm telling you, you definitely have a plan, young man. And like I said, with the way it may shape out, Demetrius and I will probably be able to make our way down to DeSoto and catch a state playoff game. Because I know you guys are going to be there because I know what type of program you're in. But, hey, this can't be the last time, my man. This show is your show. Our line is your line. And how about we do some Dalen Jones updates throughout the football season?
Yes, sir.
All right, DJ. Hey, thanks for taking time out today on the Hill, and you have a blessed one, my man. And good luck on your sophomore year in varsity football.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
That was Dalen Jones of DeSoto High School, and unfortunately, not a lot of highlights because, as we say, this young man, 6'2", 190 pounds, going into his sophomore year, Demetrius, 6'2", 190.
I think the coaches are smart. I don't think you need a lot of film on this kid. When you just look at his measurables and also his just intangibles, listening to him speak, he sounds very mature. I can definitely see him having a breakout season, or at least a season that's going to bring him a lot of attention going into his junior year after his sophomore year. So I think Sam Pittman is really being smart He's jumping on one of the players that I think he foresees being a top recruit out of the state of Texas. He's trying to, and that's what you got to do. That's the key to recruiting.
Absolutely.
You always tell me that you used to say kids only know about the teams that are winning unless you jump on them really early before they really start getting into watching college football.
Right.
And that is starting to, kids are starting to watch college football at a way younger age where they really kind of understand what's going on.
Absolutely.
So I think it's key that he's grabbing these 23 kids. Like Dalen to come to Arkansas.
And that's what you have to do. I mean, you look at the great programs. I agree with what Demetrius said. I mean, you look at Clemson, Alabama, Oklahoma's, the Michigans, Ohio States, Oregon's. We can go on, and the common thing that these guys do and these staffs do is they recruit 2 and 3 years ahead from each year, so they're always in position to get early commitments, build the relationships, and it takes time to build relationships in athletics, in particular college football, because you have more. Have just so many schools coming in, and they can only give an average of 25 scholarships per school. So it's all about building relationships, but you got to get on kids early. I can remember stories. I won't say names, but back in the Bielema era, Arkansas missed on several kids that they had early dibs on, but never really went after to build that relationship. And some of these kids have been 8th picks in the NFL draft, first-round picks in the NFL draft, leading the ACC all-time at a particular school that's played in multiple national championships in rushing. I mean, we won't get off into those things, but what we will get off into is more Hog Eyes, and we're going to show you. We talk about the 22 class. Coming up these next 2 interviews, we're going to the same high school. We spent a lot of time in Georgia. Guess what? We liked it so much, we're going back. We're going to be in Ellenwood, Georgia today at Cedar Grove High School. Our first one's the top defensive lineman in the state in that junior class, Christian Miller. He's up next. It's On the Hill with Pat Jenkins on KDSJ 479. Back in a sec.
Takes place within a 72-hour window of competition, and then potentially that rapid response testing where you can get the results probably Friday night or Saturday morning, where you can get the results back of those tests within about 15 minutes. A PCR test is the gold standard, and that 72 hours, I think, gives coaches a little bit of a better plan if a student athlete does test positive, but then you got to follow up with that a little bit closer to game time as well.
All right, Hunter, thank you.
Hey, Hunter. Thanks for doing this.
Hey, Tom.
If the 12-game schedule falls, what's your personal preference for how to schedule the rest that you can try to salvage? 8-1, 8-2. What are your thoughts on spring also personally?
Well, Tom, I personally think if we go to an SEC-only schedule, I think it would be great for Georgia, Florida, Alabama, LSU to all play a home-and-home series to accommodate the majority of their schedules, and the rest of us will figure it out from there. I say that tongue-in-cheek somewhat, but, I don't know the coach's idea of a SEC-only schedules, but it does provide you some more flexibility as far as scheduling games. If it's a 8, 9, or 10-game SEC schedule, where you can change some games if you have some testing issues with one team or another that you maybe not have. So, all the options are on the table. I just want to play football this year, Tom. If that's 8 SEC games and 1 non-conference game or 10 SEC games, we'll play whatever we're able to play this year. Okay, and to the extent that you can, what are your conversations like with the Nevada AD? I'm not sure if it's Knuth or Nuth, and then Swarbrick at Notre Dame. Is there talk that if the ACC, that you could still get that game in? Sure. Doug and I spoke Tuesday after our SEC meetings, and Doug and Nevada, right now as they sit, they're ready to come here and play, and we're ready to have them here on September 5th and playing. Jack and I have missed each other this week. We have not been able to connect, but I will tell you that the ACC includes Notre Dame now under their umbrella, and we're trying to salvage as many of those SEC, ACC games as we can. Thanks, and clearly, Kyle, I'd have more if we have time to rotate back around. Thank you.
I got you.
Man, I like chicken and waffle. What's a good place I can get some chicken and waffle? I know. KDK's Chicken at 989 South Razorback Road. Get on down there and see Keith and Kathy. Get a plate of that love. And like they say on their building, it's not your mama's. The best chicken and waffles in in the South, they even got chicken wings, and they got these things called loaded fries. I think you might want to get on down there. Meet me down there or see me down there. KDK's Chicken at 989 Razorback Road. Welcome back to our Tuesday edition of On the Hill with Pat Jenkins Sports Talk Radio. And real quick, before we move on, we got to give a shout out to the sponsors that make this possible. With that being said, Lindsay and Associates, with an office location in Fayetteville, an office location also too in Rogers, Locomotion. They're located below the Northwest Arkansas Mall in Fayetteville. Corey Beck's Custom Paint, and the one we talk about because we like it so much, KDK's Chicken down at 989 Razorback Road. Go see Keith, Kathy. Get some of that love. We tell you it's the best chicken and waffles in the South. They say it's not your mama's. We say meet us there or beat us there. That's KDK's Chicken at 989 South Razorback Road. But as we continue on with our Hall Guy segment, I'm telling you, this guy I'm bringing on now, his guy talked about him yesterday. He said he was the best in the state of Georgia, but I think he might be better in the entire country. We're going to be all the way in Ellenwood, Georgia, to talk to this Georgia peach out of Cedar Grove High School. Here he is, Christian Miller. Man, you the man. I'm trying to be like you.
Hey, man, you the man. You the one doing. Hey, guys, it's On the Hill with Pat, man. We live with Christian Miller, one of the best beat tackles in you the man.
I get you, man. Let's get off into the recruiting process, Christian. I mean, head into your sophomore year, young man. Quite a lot of options. Schools, I mean, it just seems like daily, pouring in with an offer by the hour or every other hour. Christian, talk about that process, and in particular, the University of Arkansas. Coach Jimmy Smith, you have quite the relationship with Coach Smith, and he was the one that extended so early. Talk about how that process and the relationship you're starting to build with Arkansas is going.
Oh, man, the process, man, I thank God every day. You know what I'm saying? I thank God every day because without him, I wouldn't be going through it. So I thank God every day. And the process, I'm just real patient with it. I let everything happen how it's supposed to happen, and then God's timing. But I'm loving it and I'm enjoying it, man. It's amazing. It's so amazing. And Coach Jim, man, Coach Jim was the funniest man you could ever meet. Like I remember when we first met, we were sitting in the office the day when he had offered me. Man, everything he came out of his mouth was funny. Like he got great energy around him. You know, he truly loves people he hang around with, people who he's with. So I was excited when I got the Arkansas offer, especially by Coach Jim.
When you think of Arkansas, and also Sam Pittman, who's a well-known offensive line coach there at Georgia, and a pretty well-known guy to hit the state in, as far as recruiting goes. You know, if you've had a chance, Christian, to be in the environment, maybe at a UGA camp over during your time around Coach Pittman, what did you witness from your time watching Coach Pittman?
Well, I didn't see him face to face, but from what I've seen, man, he knows what he's doing. He's an OG in the game, he's a veteran, so he knows what he's doing, and he sent plenty of guys to the league every year. So, who wouldn't want to be coached under him? You know, he knows what he's doing, and I feel like as a young athlete, we want to be under somebody who knows what they're doing, who's going to coach their kids well. And he shows that he has a lot of love for his kids and his players as well. So, I absolutely love that. I'm all about family and all about loving, and I'm all about that. So I stand tall in that. So that's a big.
I believe Georgia, they're going to let y'all play a little football, Christian.
Yes, sir.
When you sat down last year with the defensive staff there at Cedar Grove and watched that sophomore tape, Christian, what was it that you felt good about? And what were those notes, big fella, that you had to work on here in the off season so that you can have an even more successful junior year?
I feel like, of course, I'm my biggest critic, so I'm always on myself. I'm always in the lab just trying to see what I can get better on. Me and my coaches, like last night, me and my coach, we had me and D-Line had a film session because we trying to make it to where we fall in love with seeing how bad we look. So it's kind of like, I'm not going to walk around and be like, yeah, I had this, I was doing good. No, I'm going to say, okay, I did bad on this, but let me go back and let me see what I could have did better, and let me apply it so when I get in the lab. So I feel like one thing that I felt like I did good on last year was giving effort. Just keep pulling through because we played 15 games.
Right.
I was bumped up, bruised up, but I stand tall, and I played every game, and I gave my heart out. So that's one thing I love about myself. I just kept playing for my teammates, And a lot of stuff that I need to work on is, just just being technical. You know, using my hands more, being quite efficient, getting off the ball, staying low. You know, it's more things to that too. But I've been working on it this offseason. Thanks to God, man. He's been helping me out a lot. So I feel like my junior film versus my sophomore film, a lot of people are gonna be like, "Whoa, yeah, he don't work." So that's
Hey, if that happens, that's going to be a bad deal for an offensive ball carrier and a quarterback. I'm not an offensive lineman for that matter, but who are some of the schools right now, Chris, that show you the what we call social media love on Twitter and
social media love?
Arkansas.
Probably say Georgia. Probably say schools like Florida, South Carolina recently. Nebraska, Georgia Tech, Colorado, and Arkansas.
Any in-state pressure you feeling, young man? I mean, being the top defensive line prospect there in that state, I mean, it has to be kind of overwhelming, Christian. How are you able to deal with that on a daily basis as far as recruiting and just outside, with the friends in general?
Hey, Pat, you want me to be honest with you?
Uh-huh. Shoot it to
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. My coaches at Cedar Grove, they stress to us, we worried about football. We're not worried about all the hype, all the offers, we don't worry about none of that stuff.
Right.
Because the pressure comes when you worried about it. So I don't have no pressure when it comes to that stuff. I don't worry about that. It's all cool and everything, I thank God, but I don't worry about none of that. So it's no pressure when it comes to that. Now the recruiting process, yeah, it gets overwhelming. You know what I'm saying? You got schools hitting you up, yada, yada, it gets overwhelming. But you just can't let it take over you. You know what I'm saying? I just can't.
You hear that, listeners? You hear that? I told you he was a man. I told you guys that this guy had it all together. But, Chris, who are some of those guys when you sit down and watch football, either in the collegiate ranks or the NFL, that play your position that you like to keep an eye on?
Man, hey, I know everybody loves Chase Young. He's a good football player, but I like them underrated dogs. Because I'm one of them. I like them underrated dogs. So I'm gonna have to say Carlos Basham from Wake Forest, as they call him Boogie Basham. He's really the real deal. I like Carlos Basham.
Man, I'm in Ellenwood, Georgia. I'm at Cedar Grove High School. I got popcorn and a 20-ounce Coke, my man. Ball kicked off for 4 quarters. Tell me what type of football player I get to watch in Christian Miller.
High energy, effort, and just gonna give him my all. That's all. So I'm gonna have a lot of energy. I'm gonna go out there and compete, and I'm just not gonna quit. That's all it is. And that's the best thing when it comes to that. Just giving effort, because nobody can teach you that. You just gotta have that. So I feel that's one of my best abilities, and a high skill set. That's one thing I do got too, a high skill set. So when you got a high skill set, then everything else gonna fall in place. And that's just how it is.
Christian, talk about that culture there at Cedar Grove in Ellenwood, that when you do 2 years from now pick that school of choice, you'll always be able, when you get to that school, to hang your hat on it. What is it about that culture?
Man, Cedar Grove, I feel like it's preparing you for when you go to college. It gives you an expectation of what you know, what you want. Because Cedar Grove is like, we a big old family. Like, we gonna joke, we gonna fuss, we gonna fight, we gonna hug, we gonna love, we gonna punch. We're a family. We're a big old family, and that's what I love about Cedar Grove. We gonna stick together. We're a big old family, and I feel like you can't get that nowhere else. We together.
Big Chris.
So, and we want to work too. We big on working. We want to be better. We want to get better. We don't worry about season accolades. We don't worry about none of that. We just worry about getting better. So I love my school. I love the culture.
Big Chris,
I love the coaches too.
What's the pregame meal you got to have on Thursday night that Big Christian Miller has to have? Because I always had mine, hamburger and root beer float. Ooh, what's yours?
Hey, come on, Pat. You done stole the meal? Hamburgers are fine.
Hey, you trying to be like... See, I knew to me, this was my guy. From the moment we talked, you just knew this was my guy. So when you come up here, I can't tamper, but if you ever make an unofficial visit, man, we got to get a burger.
We got to.
All right. But we got to change that. I don't know who your professional team is, but I'm gonna have to get you over on that Buffalo Bill wagon. Can we do that?
Hey, listen, I don't like the NFL like that, because I'm big on NCAA. But look, if I gotta go to the Bills, then I'm gonna do it for my guy Pat.
All right, I got you on that one. Hey man, we riding around Ellenwood, my man. Me and the big fella, Chris. First 5's on the playlist. What's the first 5? Give them to me.
First spot. Hey, we riding around Ellenwood.
Yeah, man, you went to OG.
Hey, okay. So I'm gonna have the first song I'm gonna have to play is Young Duty Zone 6.
Okay.
I gotta play Young Duty Zone 6. Second song, I gotta play Future High Tech Tech.
Okay.
Third song, I might have to put some Drake Future Life is Good in there. Fourth song, I might have to play some Playboy Cardi feature Gunna because I'm a big Playboy Cardi fan.
Okay.
And man, I hear the haters out there getting mad at me because I said that.
Hey,
but
you can't hate what's good.
Exactly. And then the fifth song, I'm gonna have to throw some Jeezy in there. Throw some Jeezy in there.
That'll work, definitely.
Yes,
Well, want everybody to know that just tune in. We're talking with Big Christian Miller. He's a 2022 big-time defensive tackle prospect for Coach Derek LeBlanc, Jimmy Smith, Sam Pittman, Barry Odom, or just Arkansas in general. But I want you to finish this statement, Chris, as I make it for you. When football is done with for Christian Miller of Ellenwood, Georgia, Cedar Grove High School, and you went on, played Power 5 football, realized the dream of playing in the NFL. And then that day comes. I mean, the air goes out of the football, the pads, the shoes, and the helmet. They go in the locker. What is life going to be like for life after football for Big Christian Miller of Ellenwood, Cedar Grove High School?
You know, I have aspirations and dreams of what I want to do afterwards, but I just anything I do, I want to make a change in somebody's life. So I want to either be a mentor or do missionary work. I know I'm gonna have investments. I know I'm gonna have 3 businesses that I'm gonna own because you gotta have 3 incomes. You know what I'm saying? But because it's beyond football, and that's what I'm thinking about right now. I think beyond football. Like, I love this game, but I feel like a lot of young kids, like that's my age, they go wrong because they just thinking about football,
Right.
and it's part of nobody else is teaching them that it's more than football.
Right.
They just teaching them that it's just football. But I try to think real, and my main goal is I wanna make a change into other kids' life.
Well,
Who
man,
don't have to.
if you came to Arkansas, you definitely make a change. But I'm not trying to tamper, Chris. I'm not trying to tamper at all. Can't recruit you. I could just,
understand.
you know.
And I saw that movie, that Arkansas movie, that big boy. I forgot his name. Alonda. I saw that movie. That movie was crazy. I like that movie. It was good.
Okay,
it was good.
Greater.
Because Greater. He spoke it. He said, "I want to be a Razorback," and he kept saying, "People think he's foolish." He said, "I want to be a Razorback." You know what I'm saying? And look what happened. He kept going. He didn't quit.
Well, hey,
and that's what it's all about.
Guess who's coming on?
Like I told you earlier. Effort.
Guess who's coming on next? You got a teammate of yours, man. We're gonna stay at that high school. Y'all sound so good. I got my boy Rashad on. He's about to take the stage here in a minute.
Rashad, that's my boy R7. Hey, y'all say what's up, R7? When he come in.
All right. Well, hey, man. This is not the last time my show is your show, and hey. Tap in with us, Chris. Hey, anytime during the football season, let's get some Christian Miller updates. You down with that, my bro?
Yes, sir. I'm down with that.
All right. Hey, let's get on, and I'm gonna get your boy in here. He might be he's about to get in the locker room, so we need to get him on the stage as well.
Yes, sir. Hey, tell him I said Chris said what's up, R7.
I sure will. Take care, my man. All right. Hey, thanks for taking time.
All right, take care, man. Yes, sir.
That was Big Christian Miller. Man, probably may be the best interview, the most energetic kid. This kid's going to have a very infectious personality at his school of choice. And he's going to be one of the guys that when you bring recruits on campus, you want them to be around Christian Miller. Just great head on his shoulders, Demetrius, athletically. I know what I saw. Is it a broken record again?
Absolutely. I think this is a guy that, like you said, can go recruit. You know, I've been hearing a lot of these younger kids talk about how they have these text message groups and they're linking up outside of guys, deciding their college, but guys that plan to play on each other are starting to link up and network and Zoom and Skype. And I think he has a personality where if you're talking to him on a weekly basis, you're gonna get attached to him from a brotherly standpoint, and it's gonna be a guy you want to play for when it's time to get on that football field.
Comes from a great program, but so does this next guy at the same program Christian is. Hey, we like our Georgia Peaches, but especially we like them even better when Arkansas recruiting them and they're at the same high school. Another one from the Grove. He's up next. Rashad Dubinion. He told you R7's about to take the stage. It's on the hill with Pat Jenkins on KDSJ 479.
And he talked
Let's
about
get
going
it.
to Dolphin Island and that it's hard for him to decompress. And I'm sure you got closer to him during that football coaching search when you were together so much. I'm wondering just what insight you can provide about your colleague John and just how he operates as a human.
Yeah, John keeps everything lighthearted. He's got a great sense of humor. We're able to, but he keeps the office environment very light around here. He doesn't take, he takes his job seriously, don't get me wrong, but he brings a sense of levity that we really need, especially right now around our office and on our Zoom calls.
Okay, and finally, you referenced the youth sports that are going on and the restart in some other areas. Do you think that maybe there's been a bit of an overreaction that we need to play football, we should play football?
Oh gosh, now you're gonna. Has there been an overreaction? I don't know. I'm not a medical professional, Tom. I try to, I will listen to one far right news source and one far left news source, and then I figure the truth's somewhere in the middle. And that's how I kind of gather my information. And what I know is that the majority of, if not all of the student athletes and even our staff that contracted the virus had very few, if any, symptoms that kept them down no more than 24 hours. But I know that in other parts of the country, it has been the far opposite extreme, that the death rate has been much higher. It's impacted people differently. But at some point in time, I do feel like we've got to move on with our new norm. And that new norm is things that involve a great deal of testing and the social distancing and the wearing of the mask and the hand sanitization. And we've just got to get back to, we're never going to get back to normal in the next year or two, it doesn't sound like, but we've got to develop what that new normal looks like, where we have to make some personal decisions, but when we make those decisions to kind of leave our house and do things, that there's some things that we just should do that are in the best interest of everyone we may come in contact with.
Thank you.
So I don't know if I put around that question enough or not, Tom.
Hey, Hunter. It's Trey Biddy again.
Hey, Trey.
So, mediocre is an interesting word. I'm going to rewind you about 30 minutes. Some people can take that to mean middle of the road. Some people think it means completely inadequate. Can you put that like more in a scale for us, like what your level of optimism is on playing fall sports? And also, is that based on the people making the decisions or what we're seeing around the country with the spread of coronavirus?
I'd say mediocre is just what it sounds like. I'm 50-50 right now. I will tell you, a month ago, I was probably 70-30, and that's where I'm 50-50. Here's, I think, what, as athletic directors and administrators in this field, I think we're someone that's a lot smarter than all of us to give us a great deal of direction. I mean, Commissioner Sankey has been incredible throughout, from March to right now.
Welcome back to On the Hill Pat Jenkins Sports Talk Radio. It's our Tuesday edition as we're momentarily trying to make connections with our final guest in the 2022 running back athlete, I should say, Rashad Dubinion of Ellenwood, Georgia, Cedar Grove High School. And if we can't make connection, we'll have R7 on tomorrow's show if he can't get with us. He's in the lab trying to get better because that's just what athletes do. You got time on your hand, you get better. Especially when you're one of the top players in the state of Georgia and in the country, and everybody wants a piece of the athlete. I'm talking about when you watch Rashad Dubinion, he's definitely a difference maker, and one I think Arkansas and many programs across the country would love to have him say he's going to be at their school for the next 3 to 4 years. But now we want to go in, to this recruiting Hawkeyes, Demetrius. Man, we're a broken record in a good way. Because it just seems like each athlete that we bring on brings something different, a different element if they were to come to the University of Arkansas. Elements that we see on the other sidelines, don't you think, that Arkansas has to go against that really come to be major factors in wins and losses?
Yeah, absolutely. When you said that, it made me think about the time, it may have been 3 years ago or either last year when Auburn came to town and we looked at their sideline.
Oh, that was last year. I don't know what you're talking about.
That was last year. We looked at Auburn's sideline and then we looked at our sideline. I'm like, nah, bro, we don't have any chance. And I think just.
And that's the thing, Demetrius. There was a lot of times since we've been doing On the Hill, we've been at these games that you just got that sense they just didn't have a chance.
Absolutely, and again, I think last year was the first time, even when Bielema was here, there was a lot of things that were masked as far as the talent on the team. I think when you look at the coaches,
big old offensive line masking some of the stuff we didn't have, like lack of line, a multitude of linebackers.
Absolutely,
lack of speed.
Absolutely, and I think a lot of that was due to Brett Bielema's supporting cast at once upon a time when he did have guys like Sam Pittman when we didn't have a too deep starting five or a backup after that starting five. But I think now you're starting to see a structure here, even with these kids that we're bringing on. These are guys that if they were to decide to come to Arkansas right now, they would have a chance to be the number one or number two.
Right.
That's rare that you can go to a program and for 2 years you're going to have freshmen that can come in and still battle for that 1 and 2 position.
And we're talking about it, Demetrius Pitt. They're getting a lot older, so now is the time. If you're going to come in the University of Arkansas, I agree with you 100%. Have a chance to immediately impact this program in the 21 and 22 classes. I think that's going to be the best time to do it because I think beyond that, now you start to build depth, and I do think that under Coach Sam Pittman and this staff, they're going to build depth at each position and where it'll be next man up. And when it gets to that point, then a lot of the younger freshmen, you're going to have to be a special freshman in years to come to be able to start and get a significant amount of playing time at the University of Arkansas under Sam Pittman and staff. I firmly believe that. But until that point happens, go back to our point, the 21, 22s, the 23s, those younger classes that Sam and them are going to bring to Fayetteville have the greatest chance to be the foundation for what this program stands for going forward. That's going to wrap it up. Unfortunately, we were not able to make connection with our final guest that was the athlete in the 2022 class out of Ellenwood, Cedar Grove High School, Rashad Dubinion. We'll have R7 on this week. We'll try to get him on tomorrow, but we want to give a shout-out to those that were our guests today. And 2023 wide receiver, Dalen Jones. He's out of DeSoto High School. Got a lot of good information. The young sophomore, keep an eye on. I mean, he's got a chance to be the number one player in the state of Texas, and one Arkansas could really, really have a chance at under the direction of Justin Stepp, Kendall Browse, and that entire offensive staff. I think you have to keep an eye when he comes out. And then the big man, the best defensive line prospect in the state of Georgia, and I think he's the best one in the nation. He's a 5-star, and he's out of Cedar Grove, Ellenwood High School. Very, very charismatic. I'm talking about a guy that has a chance to be the face of any defense that he goes to. Christian Miller, he had a lot to say about Jimmy Smith, his pal. And I think he's going to be a great running back coach for the University of Arkansas going forward. You're starting to see his impact in the state of Georgia. That's for sure. He said he was a baller. If you was a baller, he's going to come get you. And with the guys that he's on right now and the schools that he's in, Demetrius, he's definitely holding true to his word. But we also want to give a shout-out to our sponsors. With that being said, Lindsay & Associates with an office location in Fayetteville. An office location also, too, in Rogers. That's Locomotion. They're located just below the Northwest Arkansas Mall in Fayetteville. Corey Beck's Custom Painting. And lastly, the one we talk about, KDK's Chicken. They're located at 989 South Razorback Road. Go see Keith and Kathy. Get a plate of that love. And like they say on the building, it's not your mama's. We say it's the best chicken and waffles in the South. Meet us there or beat us there. That's KDK's Chicken at 989 South Razorback Road. But from our producer, Demetrius, and myself to all our viewers and listeners, continue on. This thing is really good. It's going to get good, I'm telling you. We're just now getting started. It's been our Tuesday edition of On the Hill with Pat Jenkins on KDSJ 479. You guys have a blessed one, and you know always what the final words got to be. Let's get it.